Nowadays, most people die of a sort of creeping common sense and discover, when it's too late, that the only things one never regrets are one's mistakes. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, I believe I've made a huge mistake. What was I thinking? Oh well, this is Modern Escapism. Hello, my name is Oodles, the man that has started and killed no less than 3 podcasts in the last 5 years. And I am joined today by the man that thought drinking a full bottle of whiskey was a wise decision while on camera. It's Stig.
No regrets. No regrets.
Yeah, boy. Also, this man was once reported to be an explicitly sexual wild man, as he was seen roaming the fields of southern England with his pants down, aggressively windmilling at passers-by. It's Biggie.
Not a rumour.
And last, but by no means least, the man that said, "Sure, man, I'll edit the podcast. Shouldn't be too much work, like." It's Gadget.
When did I become Jamaican?
I don't know.
Alright.
Alright, pet.
Alright, mate.
How are we all doing, gents?
All right.
Really good.
Apparently I'm Jamaican, but yeah.
I'm just not very good with accents.
Oh, we know. We know.
So, we're going to kick things straight off by going to the sexually explicit man himself, Biggie. What have you been up to?
Well, thank you to the podcast. I have officially binge-watched Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Well
That
done.
was such a great recommendation. Really enjoyed that.
So bingeable, isn't it?
Yeah, I needed that this week. It's really cheered me up.
man.
Really good feel-good comedy, all right. It had the odd tear, like dust in my eye at times, but yeah, really, really good.
It's that friendship between Ted and Coach Beard, though. It's just
It's
legendary.
excellent. It's so good. And Nathan as well, the kit guy. He's
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
excellent.
yeah. He's so good.
But yeah, the main topic I wanted to cover is something else that I binge watched this week as well, and it's The Terror.
Ooh.
Now,
Ooh.
this just popped up on my TV. You know, you've got your apps as you scroll
Yeah.
across, and on the BBC iPlayer, the picture of this came up, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And so I had a look at it, and it's an American It's an American horror drama anthology television series. So there's now 2 seasons of this. I've only watched the first season. This particular series is named after Dan Simmons' 2007 novel, which serves as a basis for this series. It's a fictionalized account of Captain Sir John Franklin's lost expedition to the Arctic in 1845 to 1848. Features a brilliant cast. It's got Jared Harris, who, amongst other things, is known for The Expanse. He plays one of the captains. Tobias Menzies as Commander James Fitzjames. He's well known for The Crown and Game of Thrones. Paul Reddy as Dr. Harry Goodsir, and then ending with, I'm going to say Seren Hines. It could be Kieran Hines.
Kieran Hines. Yep.
As Franklin, the other commander.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf, yeah.
Yeah, so
Is
you've
it?
got quite a good cast just with those guys, but the cast in this is excellent.
That is a strong cast.
Yeah, so it basically begins with the Royal Navy's polar explorer ships HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, having recently left an island in the Canadian Arctic, and they're heading south towards King William Island in uncharted territory. And they're basically trying to find the passage through the northwest. The ships are then soon frozen and trapped in the ice, and then those aboard must survive the harsh weather conditions and each other, whilst being stalked by an elusive menace.
Ooh.
So never has the term frozen ever been more apt, and it's never better than this series. I've always thought my favourite movie, The Thing, was always really good at sort of creating that feeling of isolation and the coldness of that expedition, and it's exactly the same here. And similarly, the paranoia and fear of surviving the coming winters, the presence of this unseen animal that basically rips apart its victims and gradually reduces the number and the morale of the men. So there are rumours, disease, mutiny, also a threat. The CGI is really good in this. They've obviously spent a lot of money on that to make it look as realistic as possible. And I just suggest everyone goes and watch it. It's really good. It's about...
Would you say it's on iPlayer?
Yeah, BBC iPlayer.
I'm going to have to get a TV licence then.
But yeah, it's really, really good. I loved it. I thought it was excellent.
Oh, cool. Is it just... how many episodes is it?
I'm going to say 10.
Oh, cool.
And it's based on a true story of the sense the actual expedition happened.
But everything else didn't.
Yeah, some of it obviously didn't happen, but it's they've taken that story to start with, and it's really good.
Okay, so is it terror as in Terror Earth or terror as in terror?
It's terror as in frightening, but actually one of the ships is called HMS Terror.
Oh,
so,
right.
bizarrely.
Yeah.
Seems like a really bad name to name a ship, doesn't it?
It does, it does.
Mate, on a lot of sci-fi shows, they call a spaceship Icarus. You don't call a spaceship Icarus.
Or if you do, you don't fly anywhere near a star.
Exactly. Don't do it.
But yeah, I found this really gripping. The acting is what sells it, because there's
They are
obviously a lot.
strong fucking actors.
There's a lot of dialogue between the actors, so it's not just about the terror.
It sounds like one of them shows that you'd have like a nice whiskey or something at the side of you while you're watching it.
Oh my God, do you? Because the scenes of frostbite where they're chopping toes off, and yeah, it just really reminds you of what actually happened back in those days when they didn't have the sort of ways of keeping us warm that we have now.
I'm into it, mate. I'm into it. Lovely.
It's so good. Really do. Please check it out.
I will do. Terror. So, Stig, what you been doing, pal?
It's a bad week, unfortunately. I have not really been up to much.
Been digging holes.
Yeah, I have been. A lot of my spare time, I have been researching greenhouses and gardening and
how to dig a hole.
How to lay my new garden and veg patch and everything. That's pretty much been taking up my time and everything. But we watched Infinity War.
Good film.
With my daughter, it's like the sixth time I've watched it. Watched it with my daughter. We've been doing an MCU run with her. I'm not sure we're raising my daughter right, because I'll tell you why, because I won't go into details for reasons of plot spoilers and stuff, but we tried to explain Thanos' plan to her, and her response was, "Oh, so he's doing something good then?"
I love it.
And we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, me and Kate looked at each other like, no, like let's explain this again to you. Like,
God, it's like fucking real life Jojo Rabbit in our house, isn't it?
So we'll look forward to your daughter being a spacefaring sociopath.
Yeah.
Genocide bent.
Yeah, so we watched that. I watched Hamilton again for the sixth time. I had a bit of work to do at home. I was like, you know what? I'll just cheer myself up and I'll put this on my other screen. So I just watched Hamilton.
What you do with Hamilton, I did for years with South Park the movie. You see, it was just my go-to musical. I just popped it on. Yeah.
What I did with Hamilton, you did with the Justice League.
Yes, I did, and I have watched it a fourth time.
Oh fucking hell!
Since that.
What, black and white?
God.
Yeah, I watched the black and white version.
Oh God!
It makes no difference.
Because sorry, listeners, I really have not done anything this week, so I'll just talk about YouTube creator. Which
have you heard of YouTube?
Yeah, have you heard of this thing
It's
called
an app.
YouTube? It's really good. There's a lot of videos on there. There's lots of shit videos on there, but
We're on there.
yeah.
That's the shit ones.
I watch him like every night whenever he uploads his videos. His videos are like 20 minutes to half an hour long. Gadget knows, and it's he plays computer games. This guy called Ryukahr.
Oh yes.
And I predominantly watch his Mario Maker streams.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about this guy.
Yeah,
throughout the last year.
It's really worth checking out if you like watching someone play a game really well. Obviously trips up on himself, but is a really good personality. It's like he's a guy that like doesn't take himself too seriously, doesn't take anything else too serious, and just has a lot of fun with the levels. And it's really funny when you're watching him, and he's like, he might be struggling with a little part, and he'll make it, and then like he'll rush on to the next part, and someone's put some kind of like troll block in there, and it'll just catch him out. And like his reactions to stuff are brilliant. Like
it is the most evilest game ever, isn't it, Mario?
Oh yeah, I watched one the other day. It was so funny. He's like he got through this really difficult part. He's like, yes, jump to hit the flag, and they'd hidden a spring behind the flag that you couldn't see. So it bounced him off the flag and back down the hole, and he was just like. His reaction is just like he just took his headphones off, just walked away from the camera. It's just like like that. And like he'll do something stupid, like he'll fuck up a jump and go, that is the worst thing I've ever done on here. And then he'll start from the checkpoint, and for some reason he won't hit jump, and he'll just fall into a hole straight away. And the timing's perfect because it's literally straight after he's just said that, and it's like his timing with stuff is brilliant. And that's what I pretty much watch these like every night. I just go on there before I'm lying in bed, and I'll it's 20 minutes, watch one of his streams, or I'll find an old one that I've not watched, and they're really good fun.
He's got hundreds of them. I like to have his stuff on in the background, and I'll just kind of pop in out. The only problem with doing that is, though, for weeks afterwards, I'll have any of the Mario music stuck in my head.
Oh God, Mario music always gets in your head.
Usually, I think it's with a
the one that starts
in my head. The new Super Mario Brothers music. Yeah,
I always liked the Subterranean.
Yeah, that's great.
One of the first things I ever learnt on bass.
If you're going to go searching for Ryukahr videos, look for anyone that just has hot garbage in the title.
Oh yeah,
because those are the ones where he tends to get the most annoyed and the most frustrated, because he's deliberately looking for ones that are shit, or that like. Or the ones that is like super expert, not cleared.
Yeah,
where it's like levels that have had like thousands of people attempt it and never tries, and he must sit for like 8 or 9 hours on some of these levels trying to get them done.
Just edit them down into a 20-minute video.
Obviously edit them down, but it's like the amount of precision jumps. There's one that he did, and he also linked it to another YouTuber who does the same kind of thing, which I think took him like a week to learn how to do, because it was one of those ones that when you look at it, it's like, if you just look at it, it's just every asset in the game spinning over itself. But there is like a very precise path through everything.
That just sounds awful.
It's like, I think you actually had to write down the moves. You had to write down, press right here, press left here, jump here, that kind of thing.
There's one where he was like, he came onto a level and his face just dropped, and he was just like, I can't do this. It's like, he goes, this is clearly, you have to start that first jump at the right point.
Yeah.
So, and the level is nothing. It is literally like up, right, down, up, right, down, up, down. It's like a kind of snake, but like Gadget said, there's just everything's going off. The saw blades, there's like the big windmill of fires,
clouds,
and fire blows, and there's everything going off. But you have to start that first jump at precisely 22 seconds in.
Yeah, you have to wait for it as well.
That is the only way to get through. And he just said, he uploaded it and said, I can't figure this out. If anyone figures it out, let me know. And like one of his followers figured out the point where you can get through, and he did it. Like he pretty much did it like first time. Once he said, right, 22 seconds, go, and you just literally jump through it and you're fine. But yeah, he's just really fun to watch, and like he's a fun guy. He's got this thing now. Like I watched some of his early videos where he used to swear, but he's got it down now. He doesn't swear now, obviously, because he wants his content
money
to be, for
and we will always fucking
kid-friendly.
Swear on this.
Yeah. So I'm so impressed at him holding his tongue with some of it.
There's been a few I've seen where he's obviously been clipped it from a live stream. And like he has a stupid death, and you just see, and obviously then he cuts it there, and it's just like, he swore a lot at that precise moment. If you watch his live streams, he does swear like a trooper on his live streams as well when things get bad. Like, if you watch him on Twitch, he doesn't. He only uploads to YouTube the ones that he doesn't end up swearing in. So when he has a good time on Twitch, I think he uploads it to YouTube. But when he's had a really frustrating day, he doesn't.
Well, that's how you do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely worth checking out if you just like. Well, it's a serious skill like that. Some of those Mario levels are just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's pro skill.
Yeah.
Cool, excellent. Thanks for that. That's significant. And for the first time this year, me and Gadget are going to tag team we're going to talk about something that's captured our imagination this week. We'll start with you, Gadget. I want your impressions first from someone that's, I don't like to use the word newbie, but from someone that is a newbie.
Oh, I am a newbie. Okay, so picture the scene. Be me. Be bored. Be browsing around on Amazon. Be thinking, I haven't bought a new game in a while. I like a new game.
Yeah.
Go to the charts. See, this is rated well. Came out a week ago. Fantastic. It's in stock. People on the Discord are talking about it. Oh, I bought Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah, boy.
On the Switch. And my God, what a game that is. Now, for reference, I am a newbie. I've never played a Monster Hunter game before. To me, I've seen people streaming it, and it always looked very impenetrable. Like, I like the idea of, like, beating the shit out of massive monsters. Great, that's why I play Dark Souls. But but just like everything looks really impenetrable because there's like systems on top of systems, on top of gear, on top of equipment, on top of menus, and it's just like every time I've even considered the idea of a Monster Hunter game, I've looked at it and went, no, it looks like a spreadsheet. It's a spreadsheet with monsters.
It is.
Basically. But Rise was, I remember when it was pitched on a Nintendo Direct, and it says, this is like, it's kind of a new push to it. It's a bit more accessible. There's kind of new movement options and new this, that, and the other. And like, it was, what kind of put the idea in my head of getting it was Eurogamer put out a review. They marked it as essential and said it's the best game on the Switch since Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they adored Breath of the Wild. Everyone adored Breath of the Wild. But when there's someone says that, you're thinking, okay, I'm interested now.
Yeah, I've got to check this out now.
Yeah. So I bought it. Got a fancy steelbook and some key rings. It was lovely. And I played it. And it might be the most Japanese game I've ever played. I've played a lot of Japanese games. There are cutscenes with creepy twins, which is terrifying.
Which walk into your bedroom at the very beginning and say, wake up.
And wake you up. Yeah, but they have hooves and like goat ears as well. It's really creepy. But the game got me into an area. I had to go kill some monsters, so it's already doing what it says on the tin. And I had a thoroughly brilliant time with it. And if you're unfamiliar with Monster Hunter, despite me rambling for 5 minutes about it, it is a game where it does what it says on the tin. The whole point is you go into a fantasy world. It's kind of feudal Japanese fantasy. And you kill monsters. You kill these fantasy monsters. Most of them are kind of yokai monsters. Some of them are very fantastical. Some of them are Western influenced.
Yeah.
Some of them are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And that's basically the run of the game.
It's not good for vegetarians.
No. You run around the map twatting these giant animals, stealing their pelts, come back, make a bigger weapon, go find something bigger to kill. And the run of it is that. Now, I remember as well, I remember listening to the Kane and Rince podcast on Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
And they did point out, and this was something I'd never considered, that like in the early Monster Hunter games, you're basically invading into another creature's habitat and murdering it for doing nothing.
Yep.
And a lot of people find that quite problematic, and especially kind of as you wear down these big monsters, they start to limp and they start to drool and stuff like that. And it's just like,
sad.
Yeah, it can be sad. This one has a story where these monsters are invading in a rampage and threatening to destroy your city. The monsters are now canonically the baddies, so I feel perfectly fine about knocking 7 bells of shit out of these things.
They're all like demon-y type things, aren't they? They're all like fucking swamp ducks.
Yeah, but I mean, more than anything else, like it's one of the best looking Switch games I've ever played. It's beautiful. It's made by Capcom, so it's running on the Resident Evil engine, the one we saw for Resident Evil 7, and it looks gorgeous. It's literally the best looking thing. And I even played it in handheld earlier today, and no kind of degradation. It went down from 60 to 30 frames a second. Fine, I expect that.
Yeah, but
it perfectly serviceable. Everything scaled wonderfully. Everything was clear. It's a really beautiful game. And me and Oodles, and I'll let Oodles tell the story of what happened, but we went on a hunt this afternoon and had the best fucking time.
It
was
good.
So much, because you can play in online multiplayer. And it's brilliant. Just going with your mates and killing giant things. Oodles, would you like to explain the story of what we killed?
So picture the scene beforehand. I log onto our Discord and I state, I'm not going to buy Monster Hunter Rise straight away. I've played the series since its inception. I'm just going to hold off for a few weeks. And then Gadget pots a little post on, I've bought it. So then I had to buy it.
I think my precise words were, I'm a weak man.
Yeah, then I bought it the second I saw it buy it.
I'd just like to point out that for the time I've known you, Oodles, you've said that about every single big release. And within a week, you've got it completed.
I'm so weak. So yeah, I've played this series since its inception. I bounced off the first ever one because the controls were the infamous claw grip that you had to play the game with. Yeah. Picture this, Gadget. You had to attack with the analog sticks.
On the PSP?
No, on the PS2.
I hate those.
Ooh.
Yeah, so yeah, it was awful. But then Monster Hunter 3 Generations changed things, and I've just been playing it ever since. But this afternoon,
Did you like the last version?
Yeah, Monster Hunter World's good, but I don't think I can ever play it ever again now. Not after this. This is for me the definitive version. So picture the scene. I was just playing a bit of Castlevania on my Xbox, and I got a little message. You free for Monster Hunter? From my little pal, Gadget. And I was like, yeah. Does a bear shit in the woods? Absolutely. So we got on. We overcomplicated the multiplayer aspect for a split second and realised
it took us far too long to get into a party.
But it's not that hard.
Not the game's fault, our fault.
Just our fault. And then we got
We're not intelligent men.
We did a very simple hunt where we both rode two separate beasts and had a little kaiju battle. That was fun. Yeah. And then something happened. Gadget says, "Oh, we've got an urgent request to do." What's this? Is it called the Tetranodon? Or I can't even say its name. But it's a swamp duck.
I can't remember. it's a swamp duck,
which is quite big.
Tetranodon.
Tetranodon, that's it. Picture if you know Pokemon, a 18 feet Psyduck covered in goop.
It's like Psyduck crossed with Godzilla, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I'd not fought this monster. Gadget had not fought, so we both went in, virgin hunters, to attack this thing. None of us had any idea what it looked like. We're riding on as dogs. Yeah, you can ride dogs on it. We're riding on as dogs.
Which are adorably called palamutes.
Oh, God, they're so good. And we look around the corner, and there's this big green thing eating another animal. And we're, oh, there it is. We got closer to it. And then it just started, it's like its throat engorged like a frog. And it started swallowing me. And it ate me and it killed me.
All I can hear over the headset is, he ate me.
So I had to respawn and come down and help him. And he's like, he's throwing a big stone at me. Screaming from the other side of the map. And I think we must have had about 4 or 5 minutes left. Because you've got a time limit.
You get 50 minutes for a hunt.
And we were really panicking because this thing was limping, but it also flashed up with the, like, this thing's going to leave the area or we're going to run out of time. Something's going down. And it was just the most nail-biting, like, because Gadget's got a sword and shield because he's a newbie and you have to, that's law. And I've got this crazy switch axe that's an axe and a sword and it spins around, it does loads of crazy acrobatics. And somehow, by the grace of the gods, we managed to defeat this swamp duck. And the elation, two grown men in their 30s screaming at this little Nintendo computer game like we've just won the lottery. It was so exhilarating. And then it's like, quick, get all the gear, let's chop it up into ribbons and then we can wear it. And then we found out what the gear looked like and we were Ninja Turtles. It was so good. You don't like when you were describing Valheim, Stig, and it's so good when you've gone on a mission, you've gone on a grind, you've brought back some stuff, and then you've put a nice new piece of armour on. Mm-hmm. Imagine that just being the game. It's basically that. It's so addictive. I
do love upgrading my armour.
Yeah, it's so brilliant.
You'll love this. There's so many armour sets.
Yeah, I had a few people calling it an RPG, and I don't really think it's an RPG because you don't level up standard. It's all about... No. It's a looter. It's like a sword looter. I don't know. You can't even say looter shooter, can you? It's.
I know there's a bow gun. You could.
Yeah.
Say that, but
it's a hunting simulator.
Yeah, it's all about that kind of the grind and leveling yourself up and that. Yeah. And it's like Monster Hunter is one of those things I've always been aware of, but never been bothered by because, like I say, it all look complicated. If they keep making them like this, I'm fully on board. Yeah. Absolutely, I fucking love this game.
The world, the music, and even I've been listening to the music. Stig, think about that.
It's still in my head right now. I can hear the boss music in my head right now.
So good. And
is it more accessible than the last one?
Yes.
I have the last one.
By far the most accessible Monster Hunter I've ever played. Don't get me wrong. Now, Gadget will back me up on this. There is a wall of text that you have to get through. A wall of text.
There is also, and when I said before that it's a very Japanese game, I don't just mean in kind of its style and presentation. It's kind of Capcom always do games like that, but it's the So it has this thing where when a new concept is delivered to you, you get a tooltip that pops up saying this is this, and you one or more pages to scroll through, and then you click A to continue, and then it comes up with another box saying, "Do you want to exit the tutorial?" Every fucking time. When you go through the opening 2 hours, there are so many systems and concepts laid on top of you. I must have done about 13 of them in a row. Every single time, do you want to exit the tutorial? Do you want to? I'm still getting them. It still drives me mad.
Now, I obviously being a veteran on I was skipping a lot of it. Only the new things I was reading. So I would recommend if you ever to get into it, go with a veteran hunter, and they'll take you on a low rank hunt, and they'll talk you through. Like I gave Gadget a lot of tips today. Like
he showed me how to make the camera work.
Yeah, I was changing things. I'm telling him, don't forget to mine your outcrops and stuff like that, and grinding and stuff. Go if you wanted to play it. Honestly, anyone listening to this, just anyone that you know that's ever played one, go in the first few hunts with them, get to grips with it. I don't think you need to read all that text. I don't think it's just
most of it's bullshit.
Oh, it's crap. It's a load of crap. The basic play session is pick a quest, eat some dinner, kill it, chop it up, wear it. That is it. There's 5 points to it. That is it.
Which is also very much like a night out in Leeds.
Oh, absolutely. I always come home wearing the pelts of my victims.
And there's an episode title, The Pelts of My Victims.
But yeah, it's just, I genuinely, and me and Gadget are very early on. I'm only a few baddies above him in the story.
Yeah, you're about 12 and a bit hours in, I'm about 8 hours in.
Yeah,
so yeah, we're not far into it. I've only just unlocked like the third level of things to kill.
Yeah, I genuinely think so far, unless it absolutely falls off a cliff somewhere, I think it's a 10 out of 10, this. I think it's
certainly a 9, maybe more for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already putting this in contender for Game of the Year.
Yeah, same.
I mean, but that said, I am saying this is the first new game I've bought this year.
Yeah, you always get that new game feel as well, don't you? Like, especially when
smell.
Especially when you get into it.
And the other brand new game I played this year was The Medium, so it has very the bar is really low.
It's just really good. It's one, and fuck me being on the Switch. Wow, you're hunting. Take it on the toilet with you. You can play it on the toilet. It's just, it's amazing.
I will also point out for people who own Switches, the online works.
Oh my god, does it work? Does it work? I played a game with Punk other day. I think it was yesterday as of recording. I played a game with Punk, Deadbeat Punk, and I was like, I don't know how to do it, and he just appeared. He was just there. He knows how to do it. The man's a legend. And we were just in and out, and I only had time because my dinner was ready. I only had time for one little skirmish, but we did it. And it's like, see you later, pal. Yeah, see you soon. And that's it. It just works. But yeah, definitely have Discord as something for voice chat, though.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Monster Hunter Rise is shaping up to be a hot contender for Game of the Year from us both. So check it out. And we will, if you're in our Discord, we will probably be saying, anyone ready for a hunt? And just pop in.
And Oodles, you've got to get it on the streams.
I think I'm going to do, yeah. I have sent my broken capture card back, and I'm going to get an Elgato. I just thought, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get one that works. So yeah, we will be streaming this. So yeah, that's us for what we've been doing this week. Biggie, what are we going to be talking about?
What the fuck were they thinking? Quite simply, we're going to chat about decisions made in the world of media that had you scratching your head at why they did that. And believe us, there may be spoilers coming your way.
Oh, there will be.
There may be spoilers ahead.
100% will be.
So yeah, what we're going to talk. This was an idea from Stig, I believe. Was it your idea? This one.
Yep.
What were they thinking? At first, I was like, "What is he thinking?" But upon looking into it, this is a great idea. This is This is one of those classic modern escapism episodes where we can sit there and scream at people that clearly won't be listening to this.
Yep.
And we're going to start with, I believe, we're going to start with Gadget.
Oh, okay. Right, so I'm going to bring something that came out last year. It was a book. Don't let that put you off. It was the long-awaited sequel to a book that I loved. Not a particularly good book, but a book that I loved. I'm talking about Ernest Cline's Ready Player 2.
Oh dear. I can hear the groans across the internet already.
Now, I loved the book, Ready Player 1.
I did actually, mate.
The film gives me a kind of white-hot rage that settles in my chest and I have to go to the hospital.
But it's got Tracer in it from Overwatch.
I don't give a fuck. It's got Jim Raynor in from StarCraft and I still don't give a fuck. But the book, I enjoyed it. It's not a particularly well-written book, but it tells a really reasonably interesting tale. And it's obviously that love letter to 80s nerd culture, which I kind of caught the back end of being a 90s kid. But there were a lot of references and stuff I liked in it. But as I say, it wasn't particularly original. It wasn't particularly
It's a nice
well-written.
teen novel, isn't it?
It's like... You know what? It's like the kebab of books.
Yeah.
You know it's not that good for you, but you enjoy it anyway.
Well, Stig eats some sober, so...
Yeah, but you
Imagine
still,
that
it's not
quote
that good
being on the back of it.
the kebab of books.
From one author to another, this is the kebab of books.
If you want me to get me to do anything, read a book, play a game, watch a film, just call it the kebab of something. And I'm there. And I'm there.
You know, he's going straight away to Amazon to buy Ready Player One. The thing is, so I read Ernest Cline's second book, which was Armada, which was not good.
I didn't like it either.
Quite bad. Trying to kind of hop on the nerd nostalgia thing from Ready Player One, but being more focused around video games.
It's a bit Last
Gallagher,
Starfighter as well, wasn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good.
No.
So when it was announced that he was doing Ready Player 2, after the film came out and made money, God knows how, I was like, okay, well, he's going to write another book, and I enjoyed the first book. How bad can it be? Turns out it was very fucking bad. So in the first book, not the film, it's concerned with near future kind of thing. There is an ever-present online reality called The Oasis, where people put on VR headsets, go in virtual reality, world has gone to shit, that kind of thing. The creator of it dies and leaves a challenge. Find these 3 keys and you will inherit the Oasis. And so that sends off this cottage industry of people trying to find it. Corporations are trying to find it because they want control of it so they can make all the money. And the story follows Wade Watts, who is one of these people hunting for these keys, and the kind of the story that orbits around him as he ultimately finds them all and becomes the owner of the Oasis.
It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Effectively, but in virtual reality.
Yeah.
So you would think, right? Wade Watts at the end of book 1 gets everything he wants.
Yeah.
He gets the Oasis. Where can you take it? James
In
Halliday's
space!
James Halliday's has a vault with some extra super special technology.
Oh no.
And there are 7 keys to get to it.
7?
7 this time! Or 7 seals. But in the interim, while Wade Watts the book takes place a few years after the events of the first film. And bear in mind, I haven't read this. This is what I've read online.
Oh, yeah.
But I found excerpts, because when it came out, people eviscerated it on
Kicking
social
off,
media.
weren't they?
Oh, they were. But part of the new technology that kind of Wade Watts pushes forward is called the ONI, the Oasis Neural Interface.
Oh dear.
So instead of having your virtual reality goggles and your haptic gloves and all that kind of thing, you jack in like the fucking Matrix. And it's like a direct connection to your brain. So it's been established, Ernest Cline isn't a good writer. As like the actual minute-to-minute prose isn't very good. But this one has the most problematic ideas. For instance, this is a genuine quote from the prologue of the book. It's talking about how revolutionary this ONI interface thing is, and like how like people are like making kind of like digitizing memories for other people to experience.
Yeah.
Okay? Kind of like a little bit like the brain dance thing in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So, quote, New applications of the ONI technology continued to reveal themselves. For example, it became fashionable for young mothers to make an ONI recording while they gave birth to their child, so that in a few decades the child would be able to play back that recording and experience what it feels like to give birth to themselves. End quote.
Fucking hell.
Nice.
Jesus Christ.
What fevered brain thinks that up?
Ernest Cline,
Who
clearly.
the fuck would want to? I've been at the birth of 2 of my children.
Yeah, I want frontline as well,
I
mate.
do not want to fucking relive that.
Nope.
No, but you wouldn't be reliving it.
No, but like I wouldn't want to relive that as like my birth. Watching that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Haunting.
That concept would you would be reliving your wife's memory of the birth. Every sensation, every pain. That's what he's put into this. No.
That's even worse.
There's a reason babies don't have memories, because that kind of trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's full of the namby-pamby bullshit references that the first book was really quite heavily criticised for, but a lot of people kind of went with it because it was kind
camp.
of unusual.
It was camp,
yeah. But the problem is, because Wade Watts has power, and Wade Watts isn't actually that good a character in the first book. He's a bit of a dickhead.
Oh, yeah,
and he does
is.
a few dickheadish things. But now he is a dickhead with a lot of power.
Money.
And because Ernest Cline isn't a good writer, he tries to illustrate that power in ways that make Wade look worse. For instance, there is a kind of running thread through the book where they're trying to suggest that Wade is worried about the kind of the overreach that these technology companies can have, because with people digitizing their brains, you can look into anything. You can, and he has access to it, every bit of information and data.
Type thing.
Sort of, yeah, but he's trying to make a comment on stuff like Facebook owning the amount of data it does on people.
Oh,
when people's information becomes the product, effectively.
Yeah, the algorithm.
Yeah, but the way Ernest Cline takes this very sensitive subject that, a good writer would take a scalpel to outline, and he hits it with a hammer. Because he has sequences where he basically details Wade quite cavalierly going into people's personal information and just finding out data about them. There's one sequence, and I was going to find the quote, but when I read the quote back, it's even creepier than it sounds. So I'm just going to give you the gist of what he does.
Oh, God.
But there's a character that he's attracted to, and he goes they have a fight, and then he decides to go into their personal data for some inexplicable reason. And he finds in her file that there is a marker that implies that she was born male. So she's a trans woman. Okay? And then that goes, the paragraph after that is Wade then just reconciling this idea, says, oh, well, I was shocked about the fact that she was born a dude, but then I thought, no, I've watched gay pornography, I've watched bisexual pornography, I'm fine with this.
I don't like that.
No, it's not good. It's really fucking bad. And at no point has anybody in the big publisher that publishes this book, or even when Will Wheaton was recording the audiobook version of it, no one has turned to Ernest Cline and gone, what?
What were you thinking?
Edited this out. And it's the amount of people that a book this big has to go through to get to press. No one's thought to turn around to Ernest Cline and go, no, you can't say that. That's dreadful.
But, so as an author, some characters don't earn that kind of conversation to themselves or thoughts, do they? You can't just pull that out of nowhere. You can't just talk like that. It's just and as an author, sometimes you feel like, is it their mind that they're talking? Do you know what I mean? That they're talking through it as themselves through the character, and you're thinking, have you earned that as well as an author? Do you know what I mean? It's there's a lot of self-insertion of Ernest Cline into this. Yeah, and I don't like that.
But it's basically showing a very problematic side to his place as an author.
Yeah.
But also his ability as an author, because the subjects that he's talking, if he wanted to talk about Wade being able to overreach like that, there is a way to talk about that.
There is.
If he wanted to talk about somehow discovering that this girl that he's infatuated with is trans, and then Wade having a kind of a personal dilemma with that, like being unsure how he feels about a trans person, that kind of thing. It can be done.
Yeah.
The problem is, like I say, you need a scalpel to do something like that, and he's got a fucking sledgehammer. And it's, oh my God, it is just so bad. And like I said, no one at any point stopped him. And that's the biggest
Sometimes, though, the
author
gets bigger than the editors, doesn't it? The people that are editing that.
But I see. I don't buy that for this because this is Ernest Cline's third book.
Yeah.
Like, Ready Player One was a big hit, a very unexpected hit, and it was one that made a lot of money for the publisher because they didn't have to put Ernest Cline went to the publisher with the book finished. Like, it didn't need anything. They just had to print it on some paper and put it out there.
Market it, yeah.
Maybe they thought that would happen again.
Yeah.
Maybe thought they were just safe.
Lightning might strike twice.
Didn't bother to sift through it properly.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, he also does, and this is just aside from anything else, he does the really stupid thing that people who have no ideas do, where the baddie from the first film escapes from prison and gets involved.
Hate that.
Yeah,
hate it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me. It is just so bad.
Does he get involved in being now he's on their side?
Yeah, is he a goodie now?
No, he's still the baddie.
Okay, well, at least he's still the baddie. What I hate is that trope
sometimes
of,
a switch.
now the bad guy is good, and you're like, why?
Loki's a goodie now. Something.
Yeah. I mean, Loki kind of that works.
Bleep that out.
See that the biggest. Sorry to detract here, Gadget. The biggest one out of that is Jason Statham, the Fast and the Furious.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, this guy is cool. He's too cool to be a villain now. Let's have him.
Let's not forget he did murder
Let's just
someone.
forget that he killed one of the team and tried to kill the rest, and just had this massive whole plot.
He murdered Han Solo.
Yeah, it's like, come on, it's lazy.
It is lazy.
So I'm going to end off with one more quote. It's not one of the awful ones, but I just want to point out how lazy the way he references things are. Because again, it's like in my book. If you read my book, there are several sci-fi references in there that are buried in the text, and they're there because it amused me, and I've had a few people who've read it and said, I noticed that. I was like, good on you. But on this one's a quote. This is from a bit of dialogue, and it's obviously a Star Trek reference, and it starts with Shoto, one of the characters of the first book, saying they're ruminating on something, and he just comes up with, like that one TNG episode with Professor Moriarty. Next line, quote, ship in a bottle, H and Artemis said in unison. Like,
wow.
He quotes the episode name of things. And also the colloquial abbreviation. Like, if you don't know what TNG is, you don't watch Star Trek The Next Generation, you're put out of that. And
that's
it's still
total,
a bad reference.
That's Big Bang Theory style, isn't it? That where they just say, Halo! And everyone laughs.
Exactly, yeah. But it's this insipid, horrible kind of knowing nerd culture. And it's not really nerd culture because nerds are better than this. This is just a dickhead in his mid-50s who thinks he's cool.
Yeah, because I've got a Pac-Man tattoo. I'm cool.
Yeah. So, what were they thinking? Ernest Cline, what were they thinking? Just him in general.
Yeah, Ernest, please write in, Ernest. What were you thinking?
Fan of the show.
Not anymore.
No, not after that one.
So we'll move swiftly on to Stig.
Okay, I made a joke about this on our reboot episode about Game of Thrones season 8.
You did.
And this is very low hanging fruit.
The lowest of hanging fruit. This fruit's on the ground.
It's my favourite fruit.
It's so cliche to rip into this, but I have to, because Benioff and Weiss had the biggest TV show of all time. Yeah. Of all time. They had the backing of HBO and all the money in the world. They could have seen this out for another 4-5 years, and they decided instead they're going to finish it off with 13 episodes. Oh. And they're going to finish the final series with 6.
You're saying it now and I'm getting angry. I'm thinking about it. They
set up one of the greatest shows of all time with some of the greatest plot points. And yes, they had the help of George R.R. Martin for the vast majority of this because his books were already out.
Yeah.
But they had his ideas and where it was going, and he clearly must have said, right, this is where we're going.
Yeah, this was his plan.
This is what I'm doing with this character. This is what I'm doing with that
character.
character.
That was for years to get to this point.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
And they just decided to rush everything in 6 episodes to a very unsatisfactory finish.
They also turned on the teleport cheat, didn't they?
Yeah, full of just rushed plot lines, rushed character developments, and things that just made absolutely zero fucking sense. why. And if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, if you're still working through it, it is a really good show. It just had an ending that sucked so bad. And, I can't sit here and say, the production-wise, this thing is out, another level. It still looked $1 million. It still looked amazing.
Bit dark on a few episodes.
Yeah, the big fight was the first fight with the White Walkers was just horrendous. I couldn't even make up half the episode.
Has the fight started yet?
Yeah.
Who paused it?
Is this buffering?
I watched it like in all its glorious best it could. I've got
OLED
4K TV, and I couldn't see half of the shit was going on in that.
No, I had the same problem.
Don't get me wrong, the ending of that episode's brilliant. I liked it.
No.
It gave me the feels.
Yeah, but what led up to the end of that episode?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there was no... Yeah.
No, there's a point at the end of that episode. It's just... Anyway. Daenerys.
I mean, we have put a spoiler warning if you want to just rant about whatever
Let's start with Daenerys. She is seen as the hero throughout the rest. Yes, she has these little moments.
She was my favourite character.
Where she goes off a bit. She shows that craziness that's meant to be in her blood, doesn't she?
Yeah.
There's often times where, but she does that against bad people.
She's snapped,
it's always in favour of the downtrodden and the oppressed. She is as she says, I am the breaker of chains. I will free slaves. I will free cities. And she might do mad things, but she does it for the good of the people.
Yeah.
But then, she's going to fucking burn everyone alive.
It's going to be the baddie now.
For no reason. I'm going to be the baddie. The Night King's dead. We need a new baddie. Oh, we've got 3 episodes left. Let's make it Daenerys. Why? Why?
That change, if they wanted to do that, which could have been, again, a bit like Ready Player 2, it could have been done well, but that needs a 3-season build-up for a character change like that.
Yeah. She basically...
You can't do it because I remember the precise point where it is, the second to last episode, and she's sat on the back of the dragon, looking over King's Landing, and she just starts breathing heavily, and looking really mad, and then burns the fucking city down.
After Tyrion begged her.
After she'd already won.
Yeah.
She'd already won. King's Landing is hers. And no, I'm just going to kill everyone. The thing that sets her off.
How many children are going to grow up being named Daenerys because of the show?
Then
they're going to end up finding out how great a character she is until...
I mean, right, listen, I have no problem if that was where Daenerys was ending up. And I pretty much believe that is where George R.R. Martin had her character going.
Really?
But it happened. Yeah, I think that's exactly where she's going. I think that she's shown these tendencies there where she...
Yeah, the seeds were sown, weren't there?
Yeah, the seeds were sown. But it happens Missandei gets killed, and then it's everyone's against me, and you're like, what?
Yeah, what?
Everyone's on your side.
Yeah. We're all scared of you, for what?
Yeah, she's so upset that her friend got killed, and she's paranoid, and all this happens in the space of 1 episode, and a dragon got killed because, and I'll quote the writers, because she forgot about the Golden Company.
Yeah.
She forgot that an armada of ships were coming over the sea while she was flying a dragon.
The world's biggest armada.
Yeah, she just forgot. What kind of...
Also, I want to point out the ability of a Euron to shoot a dragon out the sky from a moving boat.
Yeah, and
with a ballista.
Mad skills.
I mean, there's that, right? You can kind of see
360 no scope.
maybe taking her by surprise, but it's just... And then, she runs away. She's like, I can't fight these ships. But literally about 2 episodes later, she then destroys all the scorpions at King's Landing with a dragon.
Yep.
Oh yeah. The scorpions were made up to be this horrible threat against her, and when it actually came to King's Landing, nope, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Lovely reference there. But yeah, she, same with the Golden Company. Built up as this is the best army you could get. Yeah. These guys are trained these guys will fight the Unsullied, and it'll be a fucking great battle. They will.
That would have been amazing.
These guys will come together, and it's the 2 best armies of all time fighting.
Yeah,
they're just wiped out.
Yep.
In an instant. Nothing.
Cooked.
Yeah. So that's all rushed, and then I just don't want to. I could just get through everything, but John's character, they built up all this Rhaegon Targaryen, Lyanna Stark stuff.
I'm going to shag my auntie now.
Just get shoved to the side. What is the point in spending all that time building up these flashbacks and this? And Jon is a Targaryen. Fuck, he is the embodiment of ice and fire. He is what that book is named after.
Yeah, he's the main
books,
character.
If you don't know, the books aren't called Game of Thrones. They are called A Song of Ice and Fire.
And that's who he
Jon
is.
Snow is ice and fire.
Yeah.
He is the North, the Starks, and the Targaryens.
He's a
fire.
bastard.
Yeah, and he is that, and it's just nothing.
You know,
it's just
as Jon himself in the show says, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jon just goes there,
Yeah, he
don't
does.
want it. Yeah, and then, oh man, where are we? Like, character redemptions. Jaime Lannister, one of the most hated characters in the first couple of seasons, goes through 3 or 4 series of a massive redemption arc.
Yeah.
You think, right, it's him and Brienne. Yeah, like, he sleeps with Brienne, like, ditches her, and goes straight back to Cersei in, like, an episode, and somehow manages to get into King's Landing, like, around all of the armies just, like, sat outside.
The shittest death scene
He made
ever.
Oedipus look fucking weak.
So unsatisfying. It was just
But also in the process of doing that, though, manages to also ruin Brienne's character, because her ending is effectively her crying over a man. When she spends like the previous 4 seasons that she's in,
I am no
being
man.
the strongest woman in the world.
Literally, she
And being
beat the hound.
Yeah, she beat the hound. She's like you know, Arya and Sansa are trying to be portrayed as having to be women who have to be strong because of the situation they're in. Brienne is portrayed as a badass.
Yeah.
She's a one-woman war.
She's incredible. And then, she's left in a crying heap because a man jilted her. And that's her ending.
He's pretty handsome, though.
He is a handsome fella, but
Justice
off.
for Tormund. Tormund should have got the big lady.
He's also a Leeds fan, which helps.
Oh, yeah, and that's the other thing as well. Tormund not, like getting jilted by her. I was...
Yeah. Oh.
But her ending, Cersei's ending as well, I think... outside of Joffrey, she's the most heinous character on that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she got let off lightly. Her building collapsed on her. No justice whatsoever. It's a massive troll move. You thought Cersei was going to get like
cooked
spiked
alive
through the heart or cooked alive or eaten by a dragon. No, she just had a building fall on her.
Gravity, the ultimate killer.
Off.
But of course, the stupidest part, and not taking apart the fact that all the seasons that D&D worked on were stupid. Not Wizards of the Coast who make Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm talking about Benioff and Weiss. The stupidest part I found, and I'm not talking about the idea of bringing a White Walker from beyond the wall down to King's Landing to prove a point, because that's incredibly stupid. Or the fact that everyone seems to have fast travel enabled in this world.
Yeah, they put the cheats on.
From season 7, everything is just like, we need to be here, we're there.
Yeah. But for me, it is the exact way it ends. It's that council at the very end where they says, we need to elect a new king. Who's it going to be? And Tyrion walks up there and says, it should be the one with the best story. I'm thinking,
Who better?
okay, so they're going to say Jon
or Sansa or Arya.
Yeah, any of the Stark children.
Or Tyrion himself.
Yeah, or Tyrion himself. No, Bran the Broken. Like, but hang on a second. No, he's now the three-eyed raven who's going to live for 1,300 years.
And
he doesn't even care about mankind.
Let's not forget Bran the Broken, right? Well, he's got such a great story that for one whole season he wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, his powers were never explained. What the fuck is he? Who is the three-eyed raven? He turned into a bird during the fight at Winterfell with the White Walkers. That's it. It never explains what he is, why the Night King wanted him, or anything. We just are left with all these just dangling plot
He's the
threads
absolute Tom Bombadil. That's what he is.
We never got to find out what it all meant, and it's just like, I don't get it. Who better than Bran the Broken? Sorry, his story is shit. I hated reading about him when I read the books. I hated seeing him on screen. He is the worst character. His plotline is the worst character.
I thought they were going to give it to Sansa, me.
And
Sansa would have made more sense.
Yeah, Sansa would have made more sense. She's been on a much better journey. Yeah. From where she literally went from like, oh King Prince Joffrey, I love you, I want to be with you, to being like an absolute fucking hero, badass woman. Like, it's just like her arc is fucking incredible.
She was Queen of the North, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Well.
Which, I mean, that absolute stone cold badass moment where she ends Ramsay Bolton is incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. These dogs are loyal to me. you've beaten them and haven't fed them for a week.
Or the bit with Littlefinger.
Oh yeah.
Like so good.
Just
he's getting angry. Look how angry he is.
I am. It's just winding me. I don't know what I shouldn't have chosen this subject. It's winding me right up because they just had that show was just like I remember. I never watched the first series when it came out. Everyone said you got to watch this, and I watched it. And the end of season 1 when they're
what a good ending.
Season 9, that sword swings down, and I'm like, next episode, someone's going to come out with an arrow or something, or someone's going to shout stop.
No, literally like 30 frames into the episode, that sword goes through his neck.
Go through his neck, and it opens up with blood on the sword, and you're like, fuck, this show couldn't go anywhere. And then the last 2 series just descended into typical.
I think to play devil's advocate,
cliched stuff.
To play devil's advocate on this, I think the show got bigger than the writers.
The writers.
No, I think the writers, one, didn't give enough of a shit about it.
Yeah, you probably wanted to end it.
Yeah, and 2, were only able to adapt things rather than write anything original. Yeah. Because everything that happens in the first 5 seasons pretty much happens in the book. They shift a few things here and there for plot purposes.
Few name changes, isn't it?
Few name changes, but there's nothing really original there.
No.
Whereas when they're forced to write it themselves, they actually don't know what to do. And also bear in mind that they wanted to do that 13-episode run because they'd gotten the nod for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which they've lost now.
Yeah. Which they've lost after the outcry from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had the nod for Star Wars, so they wanted to kind of wrap things up with HBO when they really could have handed it off to somebody else. Like the shows have changed showrunners before. Yeah. Like Doctor Who changes them every fucking 3 years. But like someone else could have led that show to a decent ending, taking the same plot points that they worked with, because from what they said in interviews, George R.R. Martin told them how he intends the books to end. So they had all that information leading up. But they could have handed it over to another set of showrunners who could have written the original stuff and made it less stupid.
Yeah,
turned it into a musical with Ed Sheeran.
That's less about that. But I, do you know what? I have no problem with Bran being elected the king if it makes sense. If I read that final book by George R.R. Martin, whenever it comes out, if it ever comes out. I think the reason why it's taken so long now is because he's just scribbled it all out and gone, fuck me, I've got to keep redoing this.
Because he's working on Elden Ring, isn't he? Which will be released this year.
But I have no problem. I have no problem with...
Don't get smashes his head.
I have no problem with, Daenerys turning, Bran being the king, the way it ends like that.
Yeah.
If it makes sense. If he writes a novel and it leads up to it, actually...
You'd be like, okay.
Yes, right, I know why this is. I know why that happened, and I know why that happened. But they were given the opportunity to do that over the next 4 years, and they just couldn't be arsed. And we got a half-arsed finish. It was just like, oh, but look how pretty and amazing it looks. And it does, but the storytelling is just absolute fucking shit. We spent so much time with Arya about learning her skills, and we saw her use it once with the phrase, which was amazing. Yeah. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I did.
But then all of a sudden, she somehow manages to get through the other White Walker kings or princes or whatever they are, and stabs the Night King. It's like, where the fuck did she come from, and why did they do it? And the smartest man alive, Tyrion, is hiding in the crypts where dead bodies are, and you're like, everything just doesn't make sense.
He drinks and he knows things,
and it's so rushed. It feels so rushed that there's like, do you remember all the internet things about Starbucks cups and
on the table
and other things being spotted, like a bottle of water, that council at the end.
Someone had Converse on as well in one scene.
Yeah, it's like they just couldn't even be asked with post editing. It's like, shit, we had better that. It's like, let's just get this out. I'm done. And I just think,
what were they thinking?
What were they thinking in rushing the greatest? What could potentially be the greatest TV show of all time? You could mark that down. I created the greatest TV show of all time, and it would have done, but I couldn't be asked in the end.
Because of that ending, I think the Sopranos is still the greatest TV show ever made.
Yeah, Sopranos is still number one for me.
Because of that ending. And I
want to. You'll probably notice that HBO have been a little bit more hesitant in doing big budget things.
Yeah,
like there hasn't been.
There's a few little dramas, haven't there?
They've done a few little dramas, but limited ones. Like they did Chernobyl, which was with Sky, which was 4 seasons, 4 episodes and stuff like that, and Watchmen.
Yeah,
but limited seasons, not anything long running. Where it's like now Disney with like Disney Plus and Marvel and that they're starting to like commit to huge series that will do something, but HBO, I think they're a bit gun shy on it now.
I want to leave the Game of Thrones chat with
no, it's
fine with what
got too much to say about it.
Sean Bean said. Do you know when the final episode came out? Someone asked him about it, and Sean Bean went, "What? That show's still going?" He didn't have a clue. So we'll move on.
For England, James.
For England, James. We'll move on to Biggie.
So yes, once again, I'd like to acknowledge the additional sacrifice that Gadget does for the show in editing and putting all the extra hours that he puts in. Including the Dungeons and Dragons, which was superb. If you haven't caught that, please do.
What were we thinking?
So I decided to sacrifice some of my own time by watching this travesty of a movie. It's Speed 2.
Isn't it called something like Speed 2
What
Boat
did I
Patrol
do?
or something?
Oh, it's Cruise Control.
Cruise Control, not boat.
Speed.
Oh my God. So Cambridge Dictionary defines the word speed as how fast something moves, of which this movie has completely forgotten to add this in. You must indulge me because I've made some notes. I have seen this movie before, but I felt like I had to watch it for this, and I wish I hadn't. It has not got better or aged well. So, inspired by a recurring nightmare of the director, Jean de Bont, it stars Sandra Bullock as Annie from the first movie, and for some reason, Jason Patric as Alex, who replaced Keanu Reeves, who dropped, I tell you, not 12 million to play Jack again. He dropped that.
Because he read the script.
Because he knew we were on a boat.
he went on to make The Devil's Advocate.
I don't think Keanu Reeves made many mistakes, to be fair. He's done all right with his career, hasn't he? Apart from 2 Matrix sequels that apparently exist. Never heard of them.
That English accent in Dracula was probably a big misstep for his career.
I know where the bastard lives.
And incredibly, Gary Oldman was up for the villain for this role at one point. But luckily, he passed on to
They all read the
Willem
fucking
Dafoe.
script, didn't they?
Oh, it's Willem Dafoe.
Oh, it is Dafoe, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Many actors were considered to replace Reeves, including, I shit you not, John Bon Jovi, Patrick Muldoon, Christian Slater, of course, Billy Zane, amongst others. Bullock initially suggested Matthew McCoganey, but he, for whatever reason...
McConaughey. All right.
McConaughey, sorry, I don't know where I got McCoganey from.
Sorry, Piggy.
Unless he's an actual actor that people have never heard of, so we might have to Google that.
McCoganey is
this
Mahogany.
Speed 2 is such a Christian Slater film. I cannot believe he didn't do it.
Yeah, it would have been perfect.
Christian Slater energy.
It's a good job it's not Billy Zane either, because he's already had a run-in with a boat film, hasn't he? Didn't go down well.
So the only bit of speed is at the beginning of this movie, as Alex is introduced as a cop on a motorbike chasing an ice cream truck with stolen goods in it. Because of course, it's not the most exciting chase scene, and this is intercut with Bullock taking her driving test, which is surprisingly not going well. They have decided to make this movie more of an action comedy than the original. The couple, because it then becomes introduced as to explain why Keanu Reeves passed on this movie, they've decided to go on a cruise to work on their relationship. And they ended up going on board the real Seabourn Legend cruise ship, which went to the Caribbean.
Did you work on that one?
No, I have actually seen that ship.
Wow.
Oh, it's a real ship?
Yes.
Oh.
Also on this cruise is the deranged former cyber employee, Geiger, who has somehow...
Fuck off, is that his name? Geiger?
Yeah. Due to his former role, has ended up dying of copper poisoning.
John Bad Guy.
To confirm just how deranged he is, on top of any medication he's taking, he has brought along jars of leeches who allegedly suck out the copper in his blood as he bathes with them. I mean, it's just utterly insane. And this is one of my favourite scenes. There's a great dinner scene where various background characters of imminent peril are introduced, as the whilst eating in the restaurant, his 80s pop band UB40 are playing one of their famous
Red Wine.
hits. Now, due to my career originally on cruise ships, I can tell you that UB40 would have been more of a headline act, like advertised that they're going to be on this cruise, as opposed to a house band playing their hits whilst everybody's on their second
Don't
course.
you usually get an Elvis Presley impersonator on a cruise ship?
It is just unbelievable. So then,
imagine when you took me into your main course and you're hearing red wine for the 13th time.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, they would have run out of hits quite quickly. And there's a rat in the kitchen, which would not have gone down well.
Not when you're eating your dinner.
Then Geiger then proceeds to pretend to stagger around the bridge, which is brilliantly easily accessible for passengers, and he stumbles around, and whilst not very subtly adding transmitters under the desk, the command centre of the bridge. And there's thick wires everywhere. He proceeds to set up his cabin with what looks like a command centre of an aircraft tower. And he brings on mini explosives, which are all hidden away within his golf clubs. He hilariously kills the captain in one of the most ridiculous ways ever committed to celluloid. And to very briefly explain this, he ends up taking out a character and wears a captain's an officer's uniform, and he's looking over the side of the ship. So then the actual captain comes past. He springs on him by swinging one of the lamps that is attached to the side of the ship. So he swings this, almost like a microphone arm. Yeah. He swings the lamp round. The captain initially dodges it, then steps forward to say, "What are you doing?" And then he swings the lamp again and tries to hit him. He tries this 5 times, where the captain goes in and out, dodging the arm of the light. And then they have a tussle, and then he pushes the captain.
It's like fucking Laurel and Hardy.
I genuinely thought you were going to say he swung the light, he moved out the way, and he went back, and then the light came back and knocked him over the ship.
It was just ridiculous. So then the captain goes overboard.
And just bear with me. This is Willem Dafoe doing this.
Yes.
Wow.
He then sets the explosives off all around the ship.
Is he grinning like Green Goblin as well?
He does. He takes out all of the access for some unexplained reason to the automated system software, which he created.
Of course.
Which he then forces the staff captain to abandon the ship in a very limited period before the ship goes off again. Cue an overlong tender accident as one of the life rafts comes loose and they're trying to evacuate. It's one of the strangest, most unexciting scenes of trying to get these passengers off the ship. Nothing really happens. They're all safe. Then there's another great scene where some passengers are trapped behind huge fire doors that are remotely shut by Geiger. When they close...
Geiger. All I can think is Geiger.
Like
Guyver.
The passengers are panicking and they're screaming because they can't get out. And he somehow ends up finding a chainsaw round the corner and cuts the door out so that people can escape. But what she actually does in the movie is cut around the door handle that opens the door. Wow. Now, these fire screen doors, they shut, but they are never locked, so you can actually open them. But they're all panicking, hitting the door, going, "We can't get out, we can't." Use the fucking handle.
Well, no, it's essential to use the ship issue chainsaw to cut through the metal door. Everybody knows
break
that.
glass in case of emergency.
It's in the pamphlet that you get when you come aboard. Don't you worked on these things? You should know this by now.
Emergency chainsaw.
There's vision of a chainsaw behind the glass, like smash, punch through, and there's the chainsaw.
Glass, get the chainsaw. So then, Geiger finally then sets the ship on course to crash into an oil tanker.
I forgot about this.
And whilst this is all going on,
5 knots.
He proceeds to ransack the vault of the ship and steal millions of pounds worth of diamonds.
Why is that there?
Well, exactly. The film
ship.
proceeds to have the slowest collision course ever. And I tell you what,
right ahead.
It hilariously cuts back to a view of the ship heading towards you on the camera, and then it flashes back to nearly 3 miles away. It's an oil tanker.
If you want, guys, you can just use the ladders and climb off slowly.
We're still heading towards it.
Is this crash just like that Austin Powers scene?
I was going to say
on the steamroller. Get out the way! I'm going to floor it.
It's exactly like that. I'm telling you. Eventually, the ship narrowly.
Always spoiling the ending, guys.
Yes, we are. I'm going to spoil it for you so no one has to watch
We're
this.
doing a live watch along.
Eventually, the ship
I'd have to.
is heading towards the oil tanker, is averted last minute, and as it turns away, it ends up heading towards the dock of St. Martin.
No way.
And then every comedy trope is thrown in at this point. As the ship careers towards the dock and through the dock, it includes a boat that avoids the incoming ship and somehow manages to find a ramp nearby and launches out the water and careers into a building. There is a dog barking at the ship and then runs off scared. There's a lady on the phone talking to a relative as the ship goes past, and she turns around and goes, "Oh my God, there's a ship." There are people diving off the quay like professional divers. There's a couple having sex in a building that's just crushed. There is a shopkeeper who goes to open for business, looks out the door, sees the ship coming, and turns the sign round to say closed.
Oh.
And it's just,
Can I just step back, just scrub back a little bit there? A cruise ship,
yep,
several million tons, enormous things, size of a city.
Yeah.
It's a ramp, launches up
Like
into
Tony
town.
Hawk's.
no,
Yeah.
not
A little
the
boat
ship launching
did the
into
ramp.
the little boat.
I was going. I think I must have blacked out when you started talking about a little boat. But yeah,
You do know that cruise ships can do 360s in the air and stuff. You do know that.
Yeah, Tony Hawk on it. And then it finally ends with the dock coming to a stop, and the tip of the bow hits a bell in a tower
Ding.
that just goes
fuck off,
and then
just fuck off.
then it drops its anchor, which naturally
It's the dog.
careers into a car, and the owner of the car comes out from the convenience store and goes, "My car!
I only just bought this car, god damn it.
I just paid this off on Tuesday.
Wow. So how fast do they say the boat's going? Do they ever mention it? How fast does a cruise ship go?
17.5 knots.
Not fast then, no?
Not in this movie, no.
It's about 30 miles an hour, if that.
That reminds
Something
me,
like
there's
that.
one of the officers, a Scottish guy, he's trying to explain as the ship is careering towards the dock, and they're trying to slow the ship down, and he's standing there and he's going, "It's at 16 knots!" And then it comes back to him as the ship is crashing around,
Oh, wow.
and he's now going, "It's 11 knots!" And it's still slowing down. It's not getting faster, it's slowing down. And then eventually, as the ship almost comes to an end, he gets thrown to the floor. He still looks up at the speed of the ship, and he goes, "It's still 2 knots!" I mean,
Wow.
it's just...
So you recommend it then, yeah?
I might need to watch this.
Oh my God.
The
I've
sense
forgotten
of
how bad
peril
it was.
is just ridiculous. The acting is poor. There is no chemistry between the leads.
I like
The
Sandra
phone-
Bullock when she's having fun as well.
But she's awful in this.
great in Demolition
She's
Man.
good, but she's awful. Yeah. The phone naturally hams it up, and he has a real Wile E. Coyote death at the end involving this plane that he tries to escape in, crashes into an oil tanker's mast.
Oh.
His eyes pop out like, "Oh my God." And then he gets stuck on the mast, and then he cackles, he laughs like the Green Goblin, sitting in this plane as oil drips out. He looks at it, he's still laughing that he's about to die. And then the whole oil tanker blows up.
Course
It's not
it
even
does.
the ship
Course it does.
blows up.
So there's
It's
a
the oil
massive
tanker.
natural, there's a massive like disaster because there's crude oil all over the ocean.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Did they not
You also
mention
got
that at the end?
No, not at all.
So,
And it's just so awful. It completely forgot to make what the first film was, and it was exciting.
I like
and
Speed. It's a good
I
film.
really like Speed.
You've got
It's a
Dennis
great
Hopper.
movie.
He's a great baddie in that. He's
I love
so
Speed. I
good.
think it's.
This,
you know,
this movie had a budget of $110 million,
That was just the boat, surely.
and it ended up making 164.
Oh, that's not good.
It bombed.
So-
And it is, in fact, on a list of the worst sequels of all time lists all around. the
I'm
world.
just going to jump ahead to our some of our listener feedback because we do have a Speed 2 one in there, and I just want to read that out
Yeah,
now.
go
which
for it.
says,
Yeah, go for it.
He says,
Go for it.
my friend Dominic Skeleton said, Speed 2, I read somewhere that the entire film was written basically to set up the ship crashing into the harbour scene. That explains a lot.
In fact, a quarter of the budget was spent on that scene alone.
Yeah. Sounds like they had this idea and just went, we'll just try and figure out some kind of plot around it.
You can just picture like Keanu Reeves getting down, new script for Speed 2, reading it going, no, forget that. Forget that.
It's on a ship. It's not fast. It might be in the water. It might go fast in the water. but it doesn't give that impression of speed. It's
Would you all like to hazard a guess at the Rotten Tomatoes score for this?
Oh,
12%.
30?
I know this.
30%?
12 from Stig. What was that, Oodles? 30? Biggie?
I know what it is.
Oh, you know what it is? 4%.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
With an
pepper
audience
cheese.
score of 16%.
That's low.
What's that compared to the first?
Well, the first is good,
Have a
surely.
quick look. Yeah, I was looking on Letterboxd then just to see what it's like, and a lot of people I follow, my friends on there, are just like 1 stars, and the top rated comment is, "Why does this film exist?"
So I think this must be the greatest fall from grace. So the audience score for the original Speed, 1994, is 76%. The critical score is 94%.
Wow. Speed's good. It's really good.
Yeah. But, and this is just aside from everything else, but when you look on Rotten Tomatoes, it says you also might like, if you like this film, kind of section where it links films together. Entrapment.
Yeah, good. I like that film.
Eight-Legged Freaks.
I've never watched that.
And Lost in Space.
No, don't watch that. Don't watch that. Don't watch it. Danger. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
And in fact, the fact that Annie, the character, has obviously appeared now in 2 places where there's been this complete crazy
Mate,
deranged
look at John
villain.
McClane. He's done it 5
Yeah,
times.
right, yeah. So it's a coincidence that she happens to be there twice. But also in this movie is the wonderful Glenn Plummer, who's the black guy who has his car stolen in Speed 1.
way.
He appears in this movie, right? He turns up when he sees the ship careering through the dock. He goes, "Oh my God, I've just bought a condo here."
Oh.
And then he's in a boat travelling towards that. Jason Patric has to jump on that little speedboat to try and capture William Dafoe. And he turns around and he says, "Give me one good reason why I should help you." Jason Patric says, "Because I'll push you off the boat." And the guy says, "That's a good enough reason." I mean,
it is
the
a good enough
script
reason.
It's just awful. It is so bad.
Oh my God! It's got a lower there's Son of the Mask.
There's another one. There's another one. What the fuck were they thinking?
So, Biggie, to sum it up,
awful.
sum it up with Speed 2, Cruise Control. What were they thinking? Cash grab?
What were they thinking?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So, guys, cast your minds back to 2009.
Ooh, that was a long time ago. There's been a lot of beer go through this head.
The top 2 selling movies in 2009 are Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and Ice Age: Dawn of Dinosaurs.
That's a depressing year.
NASA launches the final space shuttle mission to the Hubble telescope. In May, Barack Obama is inaugurated as the 44th President of the United States. Michael Jackson dies in strange circumstances and brings worldwide outpouring of grief. And also, and this has been swept under the rug, EA, Electronic Arts, did probably the worst PR fumble in history that people like to forget, but I never did. Think of this. The Godfather 2 game is being released. So the PR team thought, got a good idea. I'll read this to you. A classic PR move is to send something to the media that is related to the game that you are promoting. Perhaps it is a letter written from the game's protagonist or a replica item from the game, recreated for a realistic effect. Can anyone remember what EA sent in the PR press
I think I have.
kits?
It didn't send a horse's head. Did it send like a horse's replica horse's head?
So EA decided that they wanted to send the media an item from The Godfather 2, specifically brass knuckles. It was quickly discovered that sending out these items was illegal in many US states, including California, where EA is based. A further dilemma occurred when EA sent a message around to the media asking them to send back the brass knuckles, having realised their significant error. However, and full points if you have already spotted the problem, if the media were to send them back, they would be breaking the law by shipping weapons to California. So it was very messy and not a good look for EA, and a lot of people say they have not bounced back since then.
No.
What were EA thinking?
That was part of a weird time for EA because their marketing team, I think they were all huffing glue or something like that because there was do you remember the Your Mom Hates Dead Space ad campaign?
Yes.
Where they basically just played some of the most violent death sequences from Dead Space 1 and 2 to a load of not middle-aged women who were outwardly not gamers. Like they'd said, we do not play video games, we do not like video games. So they said, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, that's horrible, that's vile, that's disgusting. And that became the marketing campaign where they took all the spicy takes. It's just like, and gamers around the world went, what are you doing?
Yeah, stop it. Stop doing this. So the PR team thought we need to do something better than this. Do you remember the game Dante's Inferno?
Yes.
So, the PR campaign for Dante's Inferno was, how much of a sinner are you? So at E3, they had a competition to win a trip with two sexy, what they used to refer to as booth babes. That's not my words, that's their words.
No, that's what they were established. That's what they were just called.
Yes. Yeah. And all expenses paid, night out with these two booth babes to strip clubs and all this stuff, all this sin. There was a little caveat at the bottom of the competition. We do not endorse any sexual nature or alcohol in this campaign. So, another PR blunder. So, basically what it was a photo op with two booth babes pretending that you were in a nightclub and a strip club and stuff, but they all had like cans of Coca-Cola and stuff like that because they weren't allowed alcohol. Yeah. Basically, what I wanted to discuss were the PR blunders that EA have done throughout their history.
God, we don't have enough time.
We don't.
I was going to say, they also shit to do. I've got to get this edited. We'll be here for days.
They did a PR stunt with Diego Maradona. Meet Diego Maradona. He never turned up. He was drunk and on cocaine somewhere.
Surprising.
They also did an Army of Two competition where pose with your best rifles and things like that and send us in.
Yeah, they've done that a few times, like pose with your guns and.
There was also one for, I can't remember, I didn't write it down, a game with a game about animal killing and showing your best hunts and stuff like this. They are the worst PR team in history. So much to the fact that they've destroyed any chances they have with Star Wars and things like that. So, the main thing I want to discuss is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the recent release. What were they thinking? I'll tell you what they were thinking in the boardroom. Here, John, we've got Star Wars license. Battlefront 1 was a hit. Battlefront 2, how can we make more fucking money? I know. Most of the game is locked behind loot boxes. Because of this company, the law has changed now because of this company. What were they thinking?
Loot boxes.
It's impressive when a company fucks up so much that governments take action.
Yes.
The things in this world that are slower than Speed 2.
Yeah.
Governments.
Yeah.
Only marginally faster than glaciers. And yet they mobilise on loot boxes because of Battlefront 2. It's incredible. It's one of the funniest things ever.
I remember, I think, when I was listening to TCGS, I think Dave said something like, do you reckon that one of them just got done over by, like, loot boxes, just like, I'm fucking going to have to do something about this?
Yeah, probably. Because, like, the PR with all this, like, that's EA's. People always say, "Oh, EA are bad and stuff like that." But the PR and the obviously the corporate side to that company, they're just absolute crackers. It's as if they don't know what made them a success in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Like you think back to how football games were back then, and this is not just before online. They had online elements to these games already, and they had a full-fledged like football game, FIFA and stuff like that, and it was brilliant. And then something just fucking happened. They snapped, and it just went crazy. And I don't get it, because I know it is money, and I get that it's a business, but they were preying on people, and it really upsets me.
The loot boxing, I don't have a problem with cosmetic items. If people want to buy that stuff. That's your bag. You do that. But to lock, like you say, the game content behind this with no idea what you're getting.
Kids that have access to people's credit cards, man.
Yeah, it's pay
It's
to win
the worst.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's me off so much. Like,
I just want to, if anyone works for EA listening to this, I want to ask you, what were you all thinking?
Stop it.
The problem with the video game industry, I'm not going to get too far into this one because I could talk about this for hours. But the problem with the video game industry is it's an industry that is very young.
It is.
It's only 30 or 40 years old. Yeah. That has only ever experienced growth.
Yes.
And apart from the Atari disaster, but we'll not talk about that. But since the mid-80s, it has consistently grown.
Yeah.
And you have... when you got in the 90s, when companies like EA and that started becoming publicly traded companies, the shareholders and investors saw constant growth, constant profit.
Absolutely.
And you know, it came to the point where like EA, and I'll focus on EA, where EA would just like, they wouldn't compete with other games developers. They would just buy them and bring them in-house and stuff like that. And they would expand and expand and expand and expand. So that can't last forever. The laws of economics say you can't have uncontrolled growth for all eternity.
Yeah.
The shareholders want that.
Yeah.
But it reaches a point. So it reached a point in kind of like the mid 2000s, before loot boxes kind of were a thing, when the growth of games kind of started to slow down and the shareholders started getting a bit spooked. Like, games were starting to become more expensive to make and they weren't bringing in as much because there wasn't, like, you know, it got to a point where everybody had an Xbox 360. They couldn't fucking sell any more of the bastard things.
It was that like 5 years where even E3 was like dwindling and stuff, wasn't it? So they had all these mad ideas.
So that's when EA came out with the idea of like, okay, well, you see that pre-owned games market? Well, let's fuck that up by putting in online passes into games where if you bought a game secondhand, you had to pay £7 or something like that to unlock the multiplayer because you didn't have a code, a one-use code that came in the box.
Days.
Yeah, like Mass Effect 2 had one, which I thought was fucking mental.
Yeah.
And so they got into those. And then when Apple started allowing in-app transactions in their apps, because they were kind of the first to do that.
They were, yeah.
That's when kind of the games platforms holders, so Sony and Microsoft, went, so, okay, well, why don't we, instead of having just big expansions and DLCs, why don't we allow microtransactions so someone can buy your horse armor or shit like that? And that stuff comes into it. And then EA went, oh, I want that. I really want that.
Trading cards.
And then stuff like Farmville came out. It was free. It had the kind of the gacha mechanics in it and stuff like that. And it all kind of grew from there. And EA has just taken the worst aspect of every single one of these money-making ideas that smaller companies put together, not including Apple, but like smaller companies utilize to survive. And they went, well, we put it in there because we want to take this big, giant, overweight, fat hand, cover it in glue and just put it on your wallet. You know, and it's a really disgusting attitude to have, because when things don't go well, I've talked about Dead Space before. Dead Space 3 got EA'd. That was one of the first EA games that was riddled with microtransactions. Me and Stig know we've been there. And bad PR. But that game failed because of those microtransactions, because people were put off for it.
Yep.
So what did EA do? They just closed down Visceral Games because they were no longer profitable. You know? So they're not as bad as Blizzard are now, though. Blizzard are worse, but they're still one of the worst companies in America for this. And what were they thinking? They were thinking their wallets aren't fat enough.
I know, and it breaks my heart as someone that back in the day in like my cousin had a Mega Drive, and we used to get EA games like PGA Tour and FIFA and just all the EA Sports in the game. It was a sign of quality.
Yeah, it was.
And then they did the EA big stuff with SSX Tricky and it was a sign of a Medal of Honor. For fuck's sake, Medal of Honor was incredible. And
it's not now.
No, it's not. And it's just I just want to grab someone at EA and say, what were you thinking?
And in fact, Battlefront 2 now is the game it should have been.
Too late.
When it's released.
Too late.
It's too late. They took everything out. They've made it the game it should have been. But so many people
the fucked up thing is, though, they took all that out of Battlefront 2 and put it in Plants vs. Zombies 2, which kids play. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying these people are evil. I'm not slighting at game devs and stuff like that. I'm talking corporate. I'm talking PR. I'm talking I'm talking the overlords. I just don't understand what they were thinking, and that's my take on it. And you can disagree with me all you want. And there are baddies and goodies. It's same with Hollywood. It's same with book publishers. It's life. social media, everything.
No one's going to disagree with you on here, mate.
Nope.
Not a single listener.
Yeah, I just don't understand. It is a massive fall from grace, in my opinion, and they must be sat there now. Even the shareholders, like, yeah, we've made a profit, but no one likes us. We've lost fucking Star Wars.
To be fair, they'll be like, that gif of Woody Harrelson crying into his money.
Yeah.
that's
Imagine being the company that loses the rights to Star Wars.
Imagine being the company that loses the right to Star Wars to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but we've got some honourable mentions that we want to discuss now. We'll just do a little round table again. We'll start with Gadget.
Okay, so I've got two because you've just made me think of one of them. First one is going to be EA releasing Titanfall 2 when it did.
Oh yeah, what a bad decision.
A week after Call of Duty and a week before Battlefield 1, they release one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made, and no fucker bought it.
It's in my top 5 of the last gen.
It's so good.
Oh yeah, same here.
Fucking love it. It's amazing single player.
It is.
It's amazing multiplayer. But you released it in between both of the two biggest online shooters.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Diabolical. Other one, different kind of diabolical. This is possibly one of the worst albums and stupidest concepts ever made. The Lou Reed and Metallica collaboration that was Lulu.
Oh, God.
Oh,
God. Worse than Saint Anger.
Yeah. If that's possible, they found it. They found a way to plumb lower depths in Saint Anger. Yes. Taking the writings of Lou Reed, adapting a pair of plays called the Lulu Plays, which were about, hang on, what does Wikipedia say? Telling the continuous story of a sexually enticing young dancer who rises in German society through her relationships with wealthy men, but who later falls into poverty and prostitution.
What a concept.
Taking that Lou Reed beatnik poetry style, and then applying it to music written by Metallica.
And Lars Ulrich.
and they thought it was a good idea. They thought it was a good idea.
What were they thinking?
And I'll just end off the best quote on this one from a reviewer, because apparently some people like this, but I'm going to stick with people who didn't like this. Chuck Klosterman for the website Grantland wrote, if the Red Hot Chili Peppers acoustically covered the 12 worst Primus songs for Starbucks, it would be slightly better than this. A scathing review if I've ever heard one.
Okay, we'll move on to Biggie's honourable mention.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Joey, the TV series.
I don't know what this is.
It's a spin-off from Friends. So it just literally, when you think of a successful TV series that ran for 10 seasons, maybe you could have stopped
10
at one
seasons.
point.
It's Friends, isn't it?
But it was Friends. You had that cast that gelled, so well together. You remove all of them and leave one.
The worst one.
The worst friend.
Well, no, you see, I actually like him. I like Joey. I was a big fan of him in the show. But then you remove what made him funny in the show, surround him with people that are great actors but just don't click, and you just have a really poor TV
How
series.
did they write into the fact that he weren't friends with friends anymore? I don't know people's names in Friends.
Because he moved to Hollywood. He moved to Hollywood.
Did he?
Yeah.
I've never really watched
actor.
Friends. I was more of a Frasier guy.
None of them make an appearance, considering he was friends with them for 10 years.
Yeah, let's just not talk to him.
It's just awful. I mean, it might have the odd laugh here and there, but it's situational.
Is it still going on, this show?
No, it stopped midway through the second series.
Wow.
Still going on. It would be like
I don't know.
You'd be like a 20.
Friends ended in 2004.
Mate, I've seen like 3 Friends episodes.
I know, but Jesus, imagine that.
It was destined for failure. As soon as I heard about this, I knew it wasn't going to work.
I think Frasier might be the only one that's spun off from something where he's actually done really well.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's giving me one more. What are they thinking?
Go on.
They're resurrecting Frasier. What the fuck are they thinking? It's got none of the original actors in, apart from Kelsey Grammer.
Oh,
They do this all the time.
No.
You can't have Frasier without having Martin.
No, you can't.
You can't, you're right. The other one that made me think that when Oodles was talking about the EA campaign was, do you guys remember, I think was it Resident Evil, I'm going to say either 6 or 7 when that was released. that as a promo stunt in the UK, they ended up putting body parts around London.
Yes,
to
oh
see
my
the sign.
God. Yeah.
So they didn't inform the police.
Yeah, they got so much bother for this.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I've never heard of that, but that is ridiculous.
Oh, mate! It was in the Daily Mail and everything. It was in.
It was everywhere. Yeah. It was brilliant. I mean, it was a great idea, just poorly executed.
It stemmed from the idea when you bought the ultra rare collector's edition of it. It came with a USB drive that was like a severed little finger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of body horror in Resi 7. You know, like body parts being chopped off. So they kind of took that to the next level and they got like mannequins and like got the like Tom Savini makeup department kind of thing to do them up as like real body parts and hid them in alleyways and bins in London.
I honestly think these PR people think this is a really good idea. Like, I was listening to the Empire podcast, and one of the questions someone said, "Oh, like, what's the worst PR thing you've got?" And I'm pretty sure they said that, like, when 50 Shades of Grey came out, they just got like anal beads and dildos sent to them.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and they're just like, what? Like,
I've still got a box of them in my house.
The Commodore Amiga game, The Last Ninja.
Yeah.
I think it was Last Ninja 2, came with a shuriken.
Yeah.
It was made out of metal.
It's illegal.
We threw it in my mate's tree thing at the back of his garden, and we lost it. We couldn't find it. It was stuck in a tree somewhere.
Someone picked that up.
Like that episode, Biggie and his mates on that episode of South Park, yeah, with Buzz.
So I've got two honourable mentions before we move on to Stig, because Stig's probably got some lovely ones. I've got Jaws for the Revenge. So just a brief synopsis on this one.
The revenge.
Yeah, so
like the shark is like, you killed my mum.
So the brief synopsis is Chief Brody's widow believes that her family is deliberately being targeted by another shark in search of revenge. The movie has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
0%?
Wow. And a 15% Metacritic. And the only positive review states that they couldn't give it a 0 out of 10 due to the movie only having an 89-minute runtime. Alarmingly, this movie grossed $51 million, and the original movie had a worldwide box office of $500 million, so there's a massive difference. Amazingly, in Jaws, they repeatedly mentioned sharks do not take things personally, but it appears they were wrong.
Do you want to know who stars in that?
Michael Caine.
Sir Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Yeah.
Is in that film. And Mark Kermode tells a brilliant story where he thinks that Michael Caine opened up the script. It said, "We open in Barbados," or wherever it is, and he just went, "Yep."
I'm off on holiday.
Yeah. He saw that it was in Barbados and he went, "Yep."
Yeah, absolutely. And my other honourable mention is another PR stunt with the Dark Souls Hot Wings challenge.
Oh,
Can you remember that
one? I remember that one, yeah.
That's when
what was that?
Basically, because Namco Bandai, is it Bandai Namco or Namco Bandai? I always forget them mixed up. But
Namco Bandai.
Those guys, they thought, let's jump on the fact that this game is hard. And what's harder than a Hot Wings challenge? And it just went down badly. So it
was a very small restaurant in London. It was only on for one day. You
went down. Blacktown chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. There was 12 wings of increasing. It was basically just doing hot ones.
Yeah, hot ones.
And if you managed to get through it, you got a limited edition Dark Souls t-shirt, which probably would have been one of those fucking Fruit of the Loom or Gildan ones that shrink as soon as you wash them.
Do you think the people that failed it, they just walked out and they're like, "You died"?
Yeah, you died. Probably. So we'll move finally on to Stig with his honourable mentions.
I mean, I could rant all night about what the fuck we're thinking in the world of wrestling.
Oh, I bet.
Fuck me,
Triple H and Stephanie McMahon getting married.
I mean, there's worse with Triple H.
I know there is.
If you've never heard of Katie Vick, just read up about Katie Vick.
Oh my God!
I won't go into too much details, but it's probably one of the worst things they've ever done in the WWE. Like, it is bad. But the one for you had I think the biggest one that I hate so much is Goldberg. In WCW, the guy ran for he beat 173 opponents without losing.
Off camera.
Off street. Yeah, there was a lot of off camera stuff that you don't know about, but a lot he's telling this guy was build up as being the monster, and he just plowed through people.
He was a big guy,
Oh yeah, he was amazing. His character was great.
Yeah, I like Goldberg.
I mean, yeah, and he's the way they finally defeated him was that someone Scott Hall jumped out with a taser, which didn't even look like a taser. It looked just like a piece of
plastic
black metal with like something strapped to it. Like tasered him, and then he got powerbombed and lost. And it was just like the worst fucking end to this massive streak that built up over years. And it was just like just the storytelling that is just fucking awful.
Yeah.
But like I said, I could go on for ages with wrestling. It looks to me like Gadget's looking at the Katie Vick storyline. Yeah,
the man is shook.
I'm going to leave this context free for the listeners, but I have just seen the picture of Kane at a funeral wearing his mask, a red t-shirt,
it's not Kane as well. It's Triple H dressed as Kane.
Yeah.
Standing over an open casket of a woman that doesn't exist.
Just, it's fucking horrendous.
Fuck me. I love wrestling.
It gets brought up as like one of the worst things I've ever done. Just like, what the fuck were you thinking doing that? Anyway, one of my other big ones.
And there's an enema scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of my other ones, which I think is a travesty, is the treatment of Deadpool in Wolverine's Origins.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, let's close his mouth for one.
Yeah, like, let's have a character. Like, they teased, like, Wade Wilson's in this. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the film...
He is Wade Wilson.
It's Wade Wilson, and he's snapping back at Wolverine. He's giving it the whole, like, back chat and stuff, and it's like the teasing his character, and it's like... And we get Ryan Reynolds. It's Ryan Reynolds again.
Yeah.
But we get to see kind of a little bit what Ryan Reynolds can do with that character. Then when he's brought back later in the film, he's muted.
He's Cyclops.
They've sewn his mouth shut. He doesn't look like Deadpool. They've got rid of his
no costume.
Famous costume. He doesn't break the fourth wall. He's
got blades coming out of his arms.
He's got
blades coming out of his arms.
Basically, instead of
what is that? they're too long for his arms.
Yeah, he can't bend his elbows.
He can't bend. What the fuck is that?
Instead of having swords, he's got blades coming out of his arms.
I hate that bit.
And he's they basically made him like the bad version of Wolverine, except for some reason now he shoots lasers out of his eyes.
Because he got it from Cyclops.
Oh,
it's like
wasn't the whole thing that
so
Wolverine was Weapon X and that version of Deadpool's Weapon 11 or something?
Yeah.
And
they called him the Deadpool because it was a pool of all the mutants' powers.
And they teased right at the end, don't they? Like he had his head chopped off, and he's still alive because he's Deadpool, and obviously Deadpool.
Canonically, Deadpool, the good Deadpool, killed him now.
Yes,
canonically.
So I'm so happy that they finally got to redo Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds because he clearly realised
he's perfect for that.
Like he loves the character, so I just don't understand why he went. I mean, I think it's probably because he didn't have the pull. That he does now.
Well, he's still Van Wilder back then, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's kind of like, I get to play Deadpool, cool. And then they went,
and the Green Lantern.
Yeah, and they went, and this. There's another one. Yeah, but then he says, I get to play Deadpool, and then reads it and goes, fuck's sake. Now he's finally is Deadpool, the proper Deadpool.
Yeah.
He's gone back and killed that character and said, that was shit. Green Lantern was shit.
And he blows a kiss to Wolverine.
In my films, I have wiped them out of my Deadpool film. So I really love that he's done that. But yeah, just taking that character, teasing Marvel fans with that. And then...
Mate, in that Wolverine Origins, they had great characters. They had Blob, they had Zero, they had Gambit. All shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they fucked every one of them up.
Oh god, they invented some characters. Oh my god, it's so bad.
Didn't they give the Blob to cheer him up like a hug or something? I mean,
it's just bad. It's just bad. There's that running
really
joke with the Blob where at the beginning he was just a strong bloke and he had a tattoo of the woman, and then when he was the Blob, she'd gained 500 pounds because he'd got fatter, and it was just it was so bad. But yeah, what were they thinking? And I think what we'll do now, we'll move on to what our letterbag's thinking. What are the guys saying to us via the Royal Mail?
Well, we have had opinions.
I bet we have.
I had to filter out all the ones calling you names, Oodles.
What were you thinking getting him to host this?
Yeah. Tig starts off with Matrix.
Oh, there's only one Matrix film anyway.
I think we've discussed that enough on the show, but we're
only one officially
on this pod.
I like the comment. I thought it was cool.
Yes.
Newton Thomas has quite a few. He says Gus Van Sant doing a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
Yeah. Pointless.
Weird.
Don't understand that at all.
And casting Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, but I like Vince Vaughn. He's a big character.
Do you know they did a shot-for-shot remake of Cabin Fever as
they
well.
did,
Yep.
The same director, I think it's the same director. Yeah, he was just like, I'm just going to do it again.
Yeah.
Just wants
Shot for
to
shot.
be Hitchcock.
Why not?
Jonathan Kent's pointless death in Man of Steel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
It winds me the fuck up.
Wow,
that.
yeah. I
Trying to
prefer,
bring
Really
on some-
glad I haven't seen Man of
I
Steel.
prefer how his dad dies in the comics.
His dad in the film Gadget doesn't want people. He doesn't want
Superman
people
to
to
be
know he's Superman.
Yeah.
So there's a tornado, and his dad gets kind of like, I think he's trying to save
The
somebody
dog.
or something.
Trying to save the dog.
Yeah, and he gets caught up, and he's basically like,
Don't
I can't
come.
get out of this.
Yeah.
As a human, I cannot get away from this tornado. And
Right.
so Clark
Yeah.
steps forward,
He goes, no.
and he says no. And you're like,
Let me die.
no, let me die for no reason whatsoever, so people don't find
Bear
out
in
that
mind, this is
you
an
have powers.
adult Clark Kent, a man that can move just a little bit slower than the Flash. So nobody would have seen it anyway.
Yeah.
He could have saved
Fuck
his
me.
dad.
Awful.
Okay. He goes on to say a sentence I would never ever thought I would read. Duck boobs in Howard the Duck.
Oh, God. At the very beginning of the film, she's in the bath, and yeah, there's duck boobs.
The casting of Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile in Street Fighter.
Oh, the American,
That whole
the
movie,
American
man.
hero.
That whole movie.
Yeah. I was going to say the American hero with the Belgian accent.
Yeah. You are all under arrest. Love that film.
And then he finishes off with everything about Highlander 2.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. The
When they made
first
them
one
into
was so good.
aliens.
Yeah. There can only be one. Oh, let's have some sequels.
Yeah, that's exactly. It kind of ruins
And
the
a
point of the
TV
first
show.
one.
Yeah, well,
And Andy Bleasdale, he also continues with the Highlander sequels,
Oh.
all of them except maybe 3. RoboCop 3,
Oh, wow.
awful.
Yeah.
So bad.
Super Mario Brothers, the film,
Bob Hoskins
or
one.
pretty much any video game adaptation.
Yeah.
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in Righteous Kill.
Oh, God, so bad.
Robert De Niro in Rocky and Bullwinkle. In fact, I am going to point just most of Robert De Niro's output of the last 20 years.
No, it's when De
Yeah.
Niro's not working with Scorsese.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's why most of like The Irishman. Okay, we'll let him have that
Yeah.
one. But like, what's it? The War with Grandpa is about to come out or something like
I've
that.
never even heard of that.
Yeah, De Niro's not. Al Pacino in Jack and Jill.
Oh, Al Pacino in that donut commercial.
You got a great ass.
Paulie Shaw. No one specific film or moment, just Paulie fucking Shaw.
Oh, God. I watched Biodome about
Never
500
got that.
times as a kid, and I don't even know why it's crap.
it is, but I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah, I did. I loved it.
Pete Beckett says Dexter. After the explosive ending to season 4, which could have been an ending in its own right, and that was a fucking good ending at the end of season 4.
So good. So good.
Proper, ooh, it made your heart go and everything.
Never watched it.
What?
Oh, you should watch Dexter season 1 to 4. They're
Yeah.
best
Finish
TV.
But finish at 4, yeah?
Yeah, don't watch after that.
Okay.
Season 5 to 8, especially the series ending. What the fuck were they thinking? Hopefully, the new Dexter season will redeem a once excellent
Oh, so
show.
it's still going.
No,
they're bringing it back.
Okay. What are they
So
thinking?
Michael C. Hall wasn't happy with the ending. Wasn't happy
Nobody
with the
was.
Nobody
No.
was. Wasn't happy with the critical response or the fan response. So he's bringing it back. It's got a really good casting.
Okay.
So it's kind of brings me. But that's that. I think I've told this before, but I might have said it in the Discord. But I watched season 1 to 4 of Dexter before I met Kate.
Yeah.
That's when she joined me watching Dexter. So she's seen season 5 to 8. Hasn't seen season 1 to 4.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you poor woman. Oh.
But she's like, why do you even like this?
Season 4, literally, I think that's one of the best series of TV.
Really?
ever.
I will happily big up the first season. The Ice Truck Killer is one of the best storylines of anything that's ever been put in TV.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
The Trinity Killer with what's
John
his
Lithgow.
name? John Lithgow. Fucking incredible.
Oh, he was great.
I like
yeah.
Lithgow anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, season 5 wasn't bad. It just wasn't very good.
No.
That was the problem.
So bad.
Like, I really like Jimmy Smits as the kind of the overall baddie by the end of it. But yeah, oh no, it was just bad. Ben at XBen Blaster X says Game of Thrones season 8. Need I say any more? We've said plenty.
Yeah, nothing else needed.
No, but I will. Honestly, one of the most anticipated shows on the planet. 10 years in the making, leading to a climactic finale we were all dying to see. And, well, they fucked it. Well and truly fucked it. Rushed, unsatisfying, baffling, legacy ruined.
Dropped the ball.
Yep.
Business related, I wanted to put forward New Coke. I don't know if you're aware of this story, but years ago, Pepsi did a marketing campaign where they got people to do a blind taste test between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Pepsi came out the winner.
Rightfully so.
Yep. So in their wisdom, Coca-Cola decided to change the recipe of their iconic drink, which beat Pepsi in new taste tests, and labelled it New Coke. It did not go down well with the public in America, and they quickly went back to the old recipe.
Change it back now!
People hate changing recipes. Like the furor of it, like cream eggs a couple of years ago.
Well, they taste like soap now.
Yeah, like people do not like a change in recipe. Take out the tiniest bit of salt, the tiniest bit of sugar.
Don't do it.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on to the big one here. It's Christopher Love, otherwise known as Deadbeat Punk. He sent this one in, and it's epic. He starts with, okay, so Stig called this one, because we were talking about this in the Discord, and Stig brought this up. And unfortunately riled up the already angriest Irishman in the world.
I did it on purpose to get this.
A piece of media that was adapted from a much-beloved series, only to be stuffed into a mincer composed of executives and those who suffer allergic reactions to imagination and individuality. Terry Pratchett's Discworld series is beloved. Beloved is a light term. Fans cover the globe, young and old. If you find a Pratchett fan, you've nearly automatically found a friend. United by a love for language, prose, and humour. For those not familiar, Discworld is divided into several series. My favourite is The Watch. The Law and Order of Ankh-Morpork, the two-sided city. Now, traditionally, punks think all forms of police are cunts, and quite rightly so. But Sam Vimes' shaky arm of the law starts from incredibly humble beginnings. He grows and develops as a character, almost in direct comparison with the city around him. This fictional group of defenders adapts to changing times, constantly evolving to meet the challenges that arise in their path. There are a lot of mirrors to our own society, cleverly worked into this fantasy setting, with the respect and dignity that very few writers would dare attempt, never mind successfully pull off. I'm agreeing with everything here, by the way. So when word got out the series was getting a live-action adaptation over 10 years ago, I was very excited. I imagined a gritty cop drama with fantasy elements, humour spiced with some genuinely gut-wrenching scenes from the novels. Even if it didn't focus on the main characters in the books, it could be based on new recruits. It could have been a new branch of the Watch in another city. The possibilities were endless. The show kept getting delayed, of course. And of course, with Sir Terry Pratchett's passing, it seemed like the project would have been cancelled. Things were quiet on the project for a long time. Until the trailer dropped. And wow, what a fucking trailer. It was this misguided blend of semi-cyberpunk, acid-tone, neon After Effects that was reminiscent of the awful Suicide Squad movie. Another what were they thinking? This is not the fantasy version of CSI that I had half expected. It seemed to have completely missed the mark. I was not a happy bunny. I may have left a lot of nasty tweets under various stories on Twitter. Battery acid and Coke cans, you know the sort. I'd forgotten about this write-off until recently. I downloaded the series, albeit through a strange means. It wasn't streaming on any UK services, which isn't common. It wasn't even available on Pirate Pay or similar locations, which was odd. I had to jam up my security and VPN membership to use a Russian-based sharing website to find the series, which should have been a warning sign.
Absolute punk.
He is a punk.
So he's a proper punk. So we will begin with Vimes as the main character and introduction to the show. Vimes is a fantastic character, a personal hero. He was a wash-up in the original Guards, yet conquers his demons to become a truly magnificent defender of the downtrodden. Although he still has flaws, he's a good man, and although his moral compass may waver, it always points true when it matters. The Vimes in the TV show is a weak carbon copy of Captain Jack Sparrow with a mumbling shtick. That's pretty much it. If I ever bump into Richard Dormer prancing around the fields of Northern Ireland, he's getting slapped so hard he'll require a colostomy bag for the remainder of his days. In the same episode, we're introduced to Lady Sybil, a beautiful spirit that cares for dragons that are seen as little more than combustible vermin in the novels. A major reason as to why Vimes is such a strong character is due to her guidance and support. She was one of the few people that saw the person Vimes could be instead of how he saw himself. There is some amazing character development that just organically spreads through the literature. That's sorely lacking in our live-action edition. She's a headstrong idiot in a wig. Character assassination at the most heinous. Cheery, detritus, Angua. And my Carrot, my sweet boy Carrot, the best boy of the guard. He got done so dirty. How they turned that bright-eyed idealist that saw the wonder and beauty in everything, with everyone around him, into an aching bollocks on legs. It's unforgivable. They didn't even have Fred Colin or Nobby in the 4 episodes I endured, the iconic duo from the very first book. Death is a humorless CGI nightmare. Ankh-Morpork is an aimless background instead of a bustling city bursting with character. The librarian, just pathetic. I could go on, obviously, but this topic's hit a nerve. I never thought I'd type the phrase, I'm glad Sir Terry Pratchett is dead.
Oh,
the one silver lining is he'll never be exposed to this festering mound of smegma-coated fecal matter that is this show. I hope everyone involved in creating it catches some mad variant of Ebola and shites themselves into a coma. That is not my cow. Parentheses, this is the cut-down version of this email.
Yeah, and all views expressed by Dead Pete Punk are not the views of Modern Escapism. But wow.
I mean, we haven't seen it, but...
Thank you very much. That is an incredible literary work from Punk there, and I appreciate that. So the one good thing came out of that show is that email, basically.
Yeah. That is why I gave up reading any feedback, because I would have fucking struggled with that.
It would have still been there.
We'd have had to have cut about 5 times.
It was beautiful.
Hasn't the Pratchett estate walked away from that TV series? Haven't they?
So it was weird. Like, it was originally Rihanna Pratchett was writing it, and then it went into kind of a bit of a development hell for a while. Then it was like between BBC America and then some other company and things like that. And she was eventually shit canned from it, and then it became what it is today. So the Pratchett estate have basically said, we didn't have anything to fucking do with this one.
Good.
They just these people just owned the rights to it.
Why did they do this? Why did they take something?
Because they honestly don't care
so much. Yeah, but
they just want money.
It's like it's idiotic. The content is already there. Like, the books are there. You can do a spin on the books, but the stories and the characters are there. You know.
I always think of it as like, look how Peter Jackson adapted the Lord of the Rings novels.
Yeah, he took what was there. He cut out some stuff that was unnecessary,
and it's perfect. Tom Bombadil, yeah, it's perfect. Why don't just follow that suit on? It's fucking. Ugh. Anyway, on to the socials.
Socials, right. So you can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all our episodes, socials, and our Discord. If you have any comments, you can either tweet us on there or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. Gaming streams, we do them on twitch.tv we do them at twitch.tv/Modern Escapism. So if you're into that, come and join us. Oodles will be streaming on Saturday.
Potentially.
Potentially, if he gets his capture card
I do the caveat to that. So I'm waiting for my new capture card. It should come. But if I am available all this week for Monster Hunter raids, if you're all into that. So join our Discord if you want to do that.
Biggie is continuing his Dark Souls run. How far has he got to go on that?
He's Blacktown still.
A long way.
Oh dear.
Trouble is,
I haven't played it for a while.
He's stuck in Blacktown with a really underpowered weapon.
And he has to fight his way back up or fight his way down. He's basically as far away from upgrading as he can be.
Yeah. So I'm playing it tomorrow, which is obviously last Monday when you hear this. So I'll be back.
If I was Biggie, I'd honestly search Blacktown. There is a weapon there that can help you. That's all I'm going to say. Search.
Okay, nice little hint. And Gadget and I will be back streaming Dead Space 3 on Wednesdays. Although we might be finished by the time
we might have finished it. Yeah, I think as of this point of recording, we got to chapter 14. And there's 19 chapters in the game, so I think we will probably have it finished by then.
Wait, have we mastered time? Have we actually understood time now?
No, I've mastered time. Oh. I'm telling you time.
If we have finished it by then, there'll be something new. We'll advertise it on our Twitter and let you know what it's going to be.
It'll probably be Sea of Thieves while we think of something else.
Yeah,
always a laugh, innit?
Yeah. Just a few other things. You'll have noticed the last few weeks we've dropped a few specials. First up, we had our Justice League Zack Snyder special.
It's a masterpiece.
So if you haven't checked that out, what the film or the podcast? I hope you mean the podcast.
I mean the podcast.
Yeah. If you haven't checked that out, you should do it, especially if you've watched the film, because we had a good laugh talking about that. Strap on in, though. It's about 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
About 2.5 hours shorter than the film.
And more coherent.
No,
and we also did some D&D specials. Yeah. They dropped on Good Friday and Easter Monday, so they are out there now, available for you to download and listen to. And we had an absolute blast recording these. Gadget did an amazing job setting all this up, and I have never played Dungeons and Dragons before. None of us have, and
Nope.
we got right into the spirit of it, and we had a great time.
I want
if someone can write in and tell me how to roll dice, I would really appreciate it.
I want everyone listening to this to appreciate the work that Gadget put into this. That man literally bought us all beautiful, lavish dice. He
They don't roll very high.
he gave us enough time to create backstories, and he was so patient with us absolute imbeciles, and and the work that he's put into it and the actual edit he's done for it. It's as if we know what we're doing.
It would have been an hour shorter if it wasn't for us, me and Stig, not knowing.
So I just want to do something.
I will say my favourite part of the final product is at the very beginning of episode 1, when I'm describing Theston and Biggie and Stig are walking in, and then I say, what do you do? And the two of you sit there for about 10 seconds and say nothing. I say, this is where you role play.
I just want anyone listening to this to absolutely, if you're not into D&D, I'm not into D&D. I mean, I am now, but just listen to it as a story in itself, as a concept for a podcast that us four have endured. We spent nearly 5 hours doing that evening.
It was 5 hours worth of recording, and I've spent about 14 hours in the edit.
I just want you to appreciate what that man has done. For you guys.
I started eating during that podcast.
He's done this as well. He's done this for free, so appreciate it. If you don't even listen to it, just give him some love.
I think you should listen to it though, even if you're not into D&D, because it's a good laugh.
It's so good.
It's split into 2 parts, and I think we got more into it as we went along, isn't it? When we started to realise how to do things, how to do things, how to do that. It's like, I had a really good time doing it.
It starts off a little shaky. The first fight that you get into takes a very long time. But it's always action, and it's always happening, and it's always moving forward. And by kind of the start of the second part, you're well into it. You're understanding.
Well, the audio in itself paints a beautiful picture of the world and what's going on. Even though I was there and I was playing, and we were just looking at a bloody 2D map, I felt like I was there, and I felt like I've had this mission. I mean, I haven't got the funds that I was awarded on that mission. But I just think, and I want to thank you personally as well, Gadget.
Gadget, you did great.
Absolutely welcome. To be honest, I still need to keep thanking you guys for indulging me in this random self-indulgence, because that's what it really was. When we started up the podcast, it was one of the first things I said. So, if we do specials, I'd like to give D&D a shot.
Yeah.
And it took us 7 months to get you to do it. But it did.
Yeah. Well, then we've done 2 specials. I wanted to do spoiler specials, and I did one, and you've got to do D&D. So
we've been busy. We've been busy.
Yeah, you two need to think of some specials.
I'm going to do a OnlyFans special.
No.
A hip hop special.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Anyway,
I'll be silent on that one.
I thought so.
Lastly, last Monday on the 29th, we were on the Monday Nightmare on Deal Radio, and that has now been uploaded onto the internet, that you can now go back and listen to that if you didn't catch it when it was live. We had a really good laugh with that.
So good.
Yeah, I had a good time.
I'm not Monk's boy's enemy anymore. He's now, I consider that man a friend. He probably doesn't consider me a friend, but
I mean, even if you're his friend, he'll still keep baiting you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was brilliant.
Finally, if you like what we do and you like this episode and everything else, then leave us a 5-star review.
We deserve that.
It really helps us. Just for the D&D special, we deserve your 5-star
what's
reviews.
Stopping you? Why not?
It's free to leave us a review. It's free to fucking listen to this.
It helps us get it does genuinely help the podcast get noticed more and pushes us up to more listeners and stuff. So it does help us out. It's not just something
Tell
we
your
say.
friends. Share.
Tell your enemies.
Yeah.
Do the 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell your friends Biggie's on it. They'll come straight away.
Oh yeah, they'll go big God, man. Oh my God. They'll run for it. So anyway, this has been a very fun episode, and I believe we could have talked for another 3-4 hours on this, because there's a lot of thoughts. When it's what were they thinking? Because we could just talk forever. So I'm going to leave you with this quote. To admit that you were wrong is to declare that you are wiser now than you were before. We've been Modern Escapism. Good night.
Or is it that maybe she just got got you one of those Jurgen Klopp key rings that look like Harold Shipman?
Just so incredible.
It does, doesn't it? I've seen him before. It's crazy.
It's so incredible. Harold Shipman, lest we forget. That is not Secret Sound. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I'm going to put it as an Easter egg, completely devoid of context. He's going, Harold Shipman, lest we forget.
What was he thinking? What was he thinking? What was he thinking? What was he thinking?